Hello and welcome back to Curious Brain. Today we dive into one of the most challenging and thought-provoking stories from the Ramayana, the story of Shambukh. It's a story that has stirred questions about caste, dharma and justice for centuries. Was Lord Rama, the epitome of righteousness, truly justified in his actions, or was this an example of societal oppression? Let's explore this complex narrative and break it down. If you are new to the channel, do hit that subscribe button and ring the bell icon for notifications. So this story begins with a great disturbance in the kingdom of Ayodhya. A young Brahmin child had died suddenly, and the boy's family, along with many citizens, believed it was result of someone violating the natural order of Dharma. They approached Rama, their king, and the upholder of justice to address this imbalance. Rama, always attentive to his people, knew that such an unnatural death indicated a cosmic disturbance. Someone, somewhere, had violated the established laws of society. And so, Rama set out to find the source of this disruption. After days of searching, he discovered a man in deep meditation, Shambukh, a sage. But there was something significant about Shambukh. He wasn't a Brahmin nor a Kshatriya. He was a Shudra, the caste traditionally responsible for service and manual labor. Yet here he was performing intense penance, which was reserved for the higher caste in those days. Now, to understand why this was a problem in the Treta Yuga, we have to talk about the concept of Varna Dharma, the duties assigned to each caste. In Treta Yuga, which is when the Ramayana happened, society was strictly structured according to the caste system. Each caste has its own responsibilities. Brahmins were teachers and priests, Kshatriyas were rulers and warriors, Vaishyas were traders, and Shudras performed manual work or labor. Now, these roles weren't just societal norms, they were seen as essential in maintaining the cosmic balance. For a Shudra to perform austerities was to disrupt this balance. It wasn't a personal offense, but a violation of Dharma as it was understood in that era. Lord Rama discovered Shambukh performing these penance. He recognized that this was the source of the disturbance. Shambukh's actions were seen as a threat to the very fabric of the universe in the Treta Yuga. Here's where it gets interesting. Today, in Kali Yuga, the age we're said to be living in now, these restrictions don't apply. In this era, anyone, regardless of their caste, is encouraged to seek spiritual growth. The rules have evolved with time, and the focus has shifted from external duties to inner devotion. The rigid boundaries of caste that defined the Treta Yuga have loosened. But in the time of Lord Rama, this wasn't the case. Shambukh had violated the law, and as a king, Rama had to uphold that law to restore balance. When Rama confronted Shambukh, he asked him about his penance, and Shambukh replied, "Yes, I am a Shudra, but I seek enlightenment through my meditation." Does birth alone determine who is worthy of divine knowledge? Was his question. What a powerful question, right? Shambukh was challenging the very foundations of the caste system, asking if one's right to spiritual growth should be limited by birth. But Rama, as king, had a duty to uphold the laws of the Treta Yuga, and here's where things get even more intense. When Shambukh questioned why Rama was punishing him, he didn't stop there. He brought up one of the most painful decisions Rama had ever made. Shambukh asked, "Is this why you banished your queen Sita? Because you're more concerned with what society thinks than with justice?" Let's pause here for a moment. This is a serious challenge to Rama. Shambukh isn't just questioning the caste system, he's questioning Rama's entire sense of duty and his past decisions. Now, we all know the story of Sita's banishment after the war with Ravana. Even though Sita had proven her purity, there were whispers in the kingdom, doubts cast by a few citizens, and Rama, despite his deep love and affection for Sita, had to send her away. Not because he doubted her, but because his duty as a king came before his personal feelings. He had to ensure that his people believed in his rule, even if that meant breaking the heart of someone near and dear to him. So how did Rama now respond to Shambukh's challenge? Rama calmly replied, "I do not rule, I serve. My duty as a king is not to fulfill my personal desires but to uphold Dharma for the sake of my people. Just as the sun gives way to the moon every night, I have to also give in to the will of Dharma, even when it pains me deeply." Think about that analogy. The sun, which shines so brightly and gives life to all things, steps aside every evening to let the moon take its place. It doesn't cling to its position of power. In the same way, Rama saw himself as a servant of Dharma, not as a ruler who acted on personal whims. His duty was to protect the balance of the universe, even if it meant making decisions that were against his personal intentions or happiness. That is why Rama had to banish Sita. It wasn't a question of his love for her, but of his responsibility to his people and to Dharma. And in the same way, when Shambukh violated the laws of his caste by performing austerities, Rama felt he had no choice but to take action. Rama ended Shambukh's life, and immediately the balance on the kingdom was restored. The Brahmin boy was brought back to life, and the cosmic order was once again in harmony. But this story doesn't end here. It leaves us with profound questions about dharma, justice, and societal rules. Was Rama right to uphold the strict laws of the Treta Yuga, or should he have allowed Shambukh the freedom to pursue his spiritual growth? Does the role of any king or any leader mean prioritizing society's order over individual freedom? And how do we apply these lessons in our lives today in an age where many of these ancient restrictions have faded away? There's so much to learn from this story. Rama's sense of duty reminds us that leadership is not always about doing what feels right personally, but also about serving a greater cause, even if it is painful. He made decisions that, in his view, protected the larger balance of the universe. Shambukh's defiance also forces us to question outdated system. In Kali Yuga, we are encouraged to seek spiritual growth and enlightenment regardless of our caste and background. This story shows us how rules of dharma are not fixated, they evolve with time. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below if you have enjoyed this story. This is Spree. You've been watching Curious Spree. If you found this story insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe as always. And thank you for joining me.